In the headlines, the Bar Association demands action on concerns surrounding the safety of their work environment. Government to step up trade with Martinique and Guadeloupe and Dominica among 5 countries to benefit from a hurricane relief T20 International in London. I am Kenny Williams with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details right after this.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001 275-5003 today.
Thank you for staying with us. First up, members of the bar maintain they still have reservations with operating from the building housing the High Court, Civil Registry and Magistrates Court due to health concerns. Idona Baptiste has that story.
In a move to get the authorities to act on concerns expressed over the state of the courts since Hurricane Maria, lawyers took a break from their practice on Tuesday to put the spotlight on their calls. They walked from the registry building to the Ministry for Justice to hand-deliver a letter addressed to the Minister of Justice. The contingent included a mix of youthful attorneys and those with seniority, including former Acting Director of Public Prosecutions Julian Prevost and former Solicitor General Joel Harris. President of the Dominica Bar Association, Mary Auriel Roberts, dismissed the suggestion that this was protest action.
First of all, I will not say we have been engaged in a protest action. The executive and members of the Bar Association simply casually walked up to deliver a letter to the Minister of Justice through the Permanent Secretary. We met with her and we hand-delivered the letter to her personally, Ms. Ann Lewis.
Would you be kind enough to tell us the contents of that letter?
Well, the letter is basically addressing the situation at the courts, our high courts, the magistrates' courts. We are not satisfied as legal practitioners that enough has been done to bring the courts up to operation after Hurricane Maria, to the satisfaction of the lawyers, for the judge, for members of the public who attend at the registry. We think that much better should be done, and we think that we had to make this statement this morning to deliver the letter to the Minister of Justice. He may not be aware of the situation.
The Bar Association had previously issued an open letter calling for the Minister of Justice, Permanent Secretary, Director of Public Prosecutions and Registrar to take the necessary steps so as to ensure that the court resumes its sitting and matters are heard without further undue delay. Tuesday's action by the lawyers follows a press briefing by Justice Minister Reuben Blackmore and Registrar Ozzie Walsh, assuring of the resumption of criminal court in May and full operation of civil court by the end of April.
We met with the Permanent Secretary and she assures us that they are in fact busy working on the improvement of government buildings, and we have asked for the Minister to meet with us so that we can discuss our own concerns as to what the position is with the reopening of courts properly so that we can serve the members of the public, our citizens in the Commonwealth of Dominica.
Attorney Roberts says they would also like a report on findings from investigations on the building's suitability to be released.
We have seen a copy of a report. We are bringing it to the attention of the Minister that he should in fact release it to the persons, his major stakeholders in the Ministry of Justice who in fact go to the courts. And we would appreciate that if it is released to the members of the bar so that we can take whatever action we deem necessary for ourselves, for the safety of our staff and for our clients who go into the registry. Also, we are concerned in relation to the registry staff who operate there, the magistrates court staff, the members of the public who go there frequently, babies who are in arms who go there to be registered. So we are concerned that this report may not have reached his attention and that he probably should seek to get it so that he can take the necessary measures to do what we think has to be done.
Robert says the general area of the registry and court vault unit are not air-conditioned, pointing to the judge's chambers, which is not up to standard.
Well, I will not delve into the details of the report. What we are concerned about is that we need remedial action that is suggested in the report to take place. And that is, for example, get the place properly and thoroughly cleansed. It may necessitate that the person sanitize. It may mean that persons in the registry may have to move, and we have suggested that, and that the place is reconnected to the Domlec grid, and air-conditioned, so that whatever that may or may not be there be properly dealt with and handled. There are certain recommendations which the report is, as far as we have seen, January 30th, 2018, the recommendations have not been able to be implemented as of yet.
If nothing happens, let's say in about a month's time, could we see some action by the lawyers?
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, right?
Chief Environmental Health Officer Tassie Thomas has told Channel 5 News she has seen the report. However, she says she does not have a copy of it. She referred us to an environmental health officer whom she says is an expert on that situation. That officer is on vacation leave. Both the Justice Minister and Registrar told the media they had not seen the report. Idona John Baptiste, Channel 5 News.
In more top stories, trade authorities plan on refocusing attention to strengthen trade ties with the French authorities. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Trade, Sylvanie Burton, says more trading with Martinique and Guadeloupe is a way of capitalizing on benefits of the CARIFORUM EU Economic Partnership Agreement.
The CARIFORUM Economic Partnership Agreement offers many opportunities for CARIFORUM countries, and in the case of Dominica, we are located geographically between Guadeloupe and Martinique. There is considerable interest in increasing the trade in goods and services with our French neighbors.
Burton says the French Caribbean outermost regions are of interest to Dominica due to their relatively small markets.
Both Guadeloupe and Martinique have a combined population of under 1 million people, which makes for better matchmaking opportunities among our SMEs. 2, we consider the French Caribbean outermost regions as a gateway to mainland EU markets. Some firms that wish to access EU mainland markets to exploit opportunities under the EPA may consider entry into the FCOs as an important first step in making the adjustment towards EU regulatory environment, as well as developing a better understanding of the commercial operations of the markets.
Next up, approximately 150 people left homeless in the Point Michel area will benefit from climate-resilient housing under the nationwide housing program. That community was among the hardest hit by Hurricane Maria, and Parliamentary Representative Denise Charles assured the homeless that housing relief would come their way soon.
We shall continue to work vigorously so we can do our best to ensure the 148 people made homeless by the hurricane will have a place to call home again. We will continue to work hard to ensure that the 748 roofs damaged by Hurricane Maria will have a proper roof in accordance to our standards. The days of patch work are over. We have to build smarter.
Just last week, 2 families in Point Michel received housing units from Sustainable Housing Solutions Limited of Barbados.
I am indeed grateful and thankful for the new house which is being given to my family and me, because Hurricane Maria took everything away from us. After Hurricane Maria, all my hope was lost, and you have restored it. For that, I will be forever grateful.
Keeping in line with the country's Build Back Better campaign, a production facility for this type of housing will be set up in Dominica in the near future.
So satisfied is the government of Dominica with the final product that we have granted permission for Preconco Limited of Barbados, the company that supplied the precast structures for these homes, to lease land and set up a production facility here in Dominica. This plant, which is already being manufactured and will be shipped to Dominica in weeks ahead, will not only supply the remaining 980 houses that constitute the existing contract with the government, but will also be equipped to design, manufacture, supply and install other homes, as well as commercial, industrial and other building types for the private sector. The plant will take 3 months to set up and be fully commissioned, as it is being manufactured specifically for the Dominican market.
Director of Sustainable Housing Solutions Limited promises the production facility here will provide secure employment for Dominicans.
We are looking forward to establishing our own manufacturing plant here and creating jobs in Dominica and training Dominica. Housing solutions which will in turn provide permanent employment for artisans. We don't just build homes, we create communities and environments for persons to enhance their lifestyles. And we can assure you that this concept will be beneficial to Dominica.
We continue with this item where Head of Extension at the Division of Agriculture has highlighted the role that Extension offices have played in what is being described as a successful white potato season. Felix Leslie says while the Division of Agriculture created the enabling environment by providing free potato seedlings and training for farmers, the role of the Extension officers was a key component in this success.
Also the fertilizers, assistance in plowing, and the technical aspect of agricultural extension being out there with farmers, giving them the training from A to Z. So that is significant, and we see the farmers coming board and implementing the training, and the results is that they have done well. So I want to take time off to congratulate the farmers of Dominica for the level of resilience that we've seen on farm, the high level of cooperation, you see, that they have displayed. And of course, I want to highlight the work of extension. What we see on the field, it didn't just happen overnight, but you have some devoted extension workers who are out there, who would go beyond the call of duty, you see, to do what you see on the ground. So as I look at the potato sector, and in general the agricultural sector, there is hope for all. There is hope for the industry. There is hope for the potato sector. And I believe it can do well, given what I see on the ground. And we have appointed a coordinator, Mr. Williams. You just spoke to him. And you see that he has the passion. The farmers have the passion.
Leslie believes Dominicans must change their perception of agriculture as being only for a select group.
But we recognize agriculture is bigger than the Ministry of Agriculture itself. We're talking about a sector. And when we talk about a sector, you're not talking about a few officers who work at the Ministry of Agriculture. People have to eat. People have to be clothed. People have to make money. We're talking about the rural economy. We're talking about the financial institutions. We're talking about the educational institution. Everybody must come on board and begin to look at agriculture as a Dominica thing, and that it doesn't belong to only a few people who work in the agricultural sector. So when we talk about the agricultural sector, it is much more general than the division of agriculture itself, and I would want to send that clear message, you see. So what Maria has done essentially is to give us a new starting point, you see. Let us plan again, let's rethink again, so that we could practice agriculture in the approved manner.
This year, 289 farmers participated in the establishment of 60 acres of white potatoes. The idea is to create a potato industry along the lines of models used by the DBMC for the banana industry. An education campaign to sensitize Dominicans on foreign invasive species which may enter the country post-Hurricane Maria is being proposed. Auriel tells us more.
The dead striped-tailed iguana discovered in the Kohath area 2 weeks ago has put the Forestry Division on heightened alert to the possibility of an established population of this species on island. Ecologist Janelle Brisbane says protecting the country's biodiversity goes hand in hand with its climate resilience thrust, and due to the level of aid coming into the country post-Hurricane Maria, the chances of new species entering the island has increased.
After Hurricane Irma in St. Bart's, they actually came out with a report that one of their containers, they counted about 83 invasive species, or potentially invasive species. So with all these containers coming into our port, there is a great potential that there could be invasive species on here, and if we do not take quick, swift action, then we're going to have happen what happened to our Zandoli here with the Puerto Rican anole happen to other species here, and we want to preserve the biodiversity of this island, because to be climate resilient, you need to preserve the very nature that is allowing you to be climate resilient.
Brisbane maintains that sensitization is key in helping people identify potentially invasive species and further protect Dominica's ecosystem.
It's going to take a huge education push to be able to do that. It's going to be up to us who know what they look like to be able to reach out to the public and educate them on what invasive species we think could potentially come in or have potentially come in, and just let them know that if they see this, they should call forestry right away, stress the emergency, because these things, they don't only affect our biodiversity, and other invasives can also become a huge pest if we do not take quick action.
The Forestry Division remains optimistic that the dead striped-tailed iguana, which was pregnant when discovered, was not able to reproduce. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
You are watching the Channel 5 News. We have much more in store after the break.
Do you need more cash for that home improvement? Then come to Fast Cash, where we give you more. At Fast Cash, our customers get more funds and more time to repay. But wait, can't come to us? We'll come to you, and our mobile officer will get you on your way. Small businesses, consumers, and taxi owners. Fast Cash has more for everyone. Simply call or visit any of our locations for more. Smarter, faster, better. Fast Cash. Terms and conditions apply.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fenced pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Welcome back. One of the primary schools adopted by a corporate citizen is set to see a $45,000 facelift soon. The Rosa Primary School, which was adopted by Flo, then Lime Dominica in 2011, is to receive a significant investment from the development of its computer lab.
We are investing $45,000 towards the refurbishment of the Rosa Primary School's computer lab. And this is going to be huge. This will include the replacement of about 35 computers, desktop computers. We're talking about projector and projector screen, printer, and a host of other items required for that particular computer lab at the Rosa Primary School. Friday, we paid a visit, the GM included, to the Rosa Primary School.
General Manager for Flo Dominica, Jeffrey Baptiste, says the company's decision to adopt the Rosa Primary School was a no-brainer, as it has shown a positive transformation over the years.
There was a certain stigma that was associated with the Rosa Primary School that we felt needed to change. That we had students in there that we always saw had significant, tremendous potential, like every other student in every other school. But given the history in terms of their location and where they were coming from and where they resided, there was a natural stigma that was associated with that school. And so when we decided to adopt a school, we had to look no further than the Rosa Primary School, because what we wanted to do is transform. So when we went to the Rosa Primary School, it was about transforming the lives of the students in that school. And certainly, I think when we look back at the report card, we certainly, I think, can say, yes, we have done it.
Next up, Prime Minister Skerrit says government's economic plans are on track, relief is maturing, and early recovery is well underway. The Prime Minister says it was necessary at this time to also review the structure of government and the deployment of human resources across the system. Mr. Skerrit says this restructuring will be a phased refashioning and redeployment lasting over the course of the next 12 months. That process began last week with the Cabinet of Ministers. But he also plans to consider the redeployment of permanent secretaries and other very senior officers in a few weeks. Mr. Skerrit says while Cabinet has worked steadfastly to rebuild lives, property and infrastructure over the past 6 months, the period ahead is even more challenging. He says that's why it was necessary to make the adjustments to some ministerial portfolios. He believes this move will foster greater synergy and efficiency and to position government to better respond to the needs of citizens. Mr. Skerrit believes twinning tourism and culture means programs falling under the ambit of culture should better be coordinated and marketed as part of the Dominica tourism product. The Prime Minister also believes there is a natural correlation between the provision of health care services and social services. And he says the two key pillars of agriculture and housing are overseen by the two most senior members of the new cabinet, himself and Reginald Austrie. And the introduction of the portfolio of ecclesiastical affairs is expected to impact schools in a number of positive ways. The Prime Minister introduced this ministry in response to calls for much deeper incorporation of Christian values and principles into every walk of life, including government and the operation of our schools. That will mean the incorporation of religious studies and programs into schools. President of the Evangelical Churches says he supports such a measure, which could result in some schools introducing Christian values and principles in their curriculum.
Like I said, there is truth, there is absolute truth in the statement of the Prime Minister. I mean, nobody can argue that. What is the gray area, what is not out yet is the getting that into the real operations and seeing it in practice as to what's going to be done. The reality is we live in a very secular society. This postmodern society is an extremely secular society. And we have, in a very, very subtle way, been putting God out of everything that we do. When I went to school, there was religious education. Okay? A minister of the gospel, whether it was a priest or a pastor, came to the school to teach Bible. Today, I'm not sure that we have that, except for the religious schools. I'm not sure that we have that. And like I mentioned, I have been stunned at the information that I'm gleaning from many of our students who attend the Dominica State College, reporting the number of lecturers who seem to take pride in pushing their atheist religious background onto the minds of these students, these impressionable students. And this has been happening in broad daylight, but in the quiet. Okay? So there is truth and there is wisdom to changing course.
Pastor Rodney makes reference to American society to illustrate what can happen when biblical principles are sidelined.
What is today happening in the U.S.? It is a consequence of the deteriorating progression of moving away from certain biblical principles. We can't argue that. Today, there is a fight in the U.S. to stop guns. And I am not Republican or Democrat, but what I know is guns don't kill people. Guns has never and will never kill people. People use guns to kill people. And these people who use guns to kill people come from a particular social construct.
That's news, your sports highlights. Next.
If you're HIV positive or have an STI, having unprotected sex with multiple partners puts them in grave danger. You'll expose every partner and their present and future partners to HIV or another STI. Use a condom every time you have sex. You can live a productive life even if diagnosed with HIV. Remember, early detection is key to your survival. Be responsible, protect yourself and others. Help stop the spread of HIV and other STIs.
First up in sports, Dominica among 5 countries to benefit from a hurricane relief T20 international in May. All proceeds from the Hurricane Relief T20 Challenge are expected to go towards rebuilding and renovating 5 major cricketing venues, as well as other community cricket facilities damaged during hurricanes last year. They are the Ronald Webster Park in Anguilla, damaged by Irma, Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, Antigua, temporarily converted to host refugees from Bermuda following Irma, Windsor Park Sports Stadium in Dominica, damaged during Hurricane Maria, A.O. Shirley Recreation Ground, BVI, and the Carib Lumber Ballpark, St. Martin, both damaged through Irma. This charity match is being staged with the support of the Marylebone Cricket Club, England and Wales Cricket Board, and the International Cricket Council. The Windies squad will be captained by Carlos Brathwaite against the ICC Rest of the World 11 at Lord's Cricket Ground, London on Thursday, May 31. Match-winning all-rounder Andre Russell returns to the Windies T20 squad following his return to cricket during the Super 50 Cup and the IPL. Explosive openers Evan Lewis and the Universe boss Chris Gayle also returned to the squad following the Pakistan series, along with spinner Ashley Nurse. The Hurricane Relief T20 Challenge Windies squad reads Samuel Badri, Carlos Brathwaite, Riyad Emrit, Andre Fletcher, Chris Gayle, Evan Lewis, Ashley Nurse, Kemo Paul, Rovman Powell, Dinesh Ramdin, Andre Russell, Marlon Samuels, and Kesrick Williams. Meantime, there were wins for Tremors Point Michelle Cricket Academy and Gallio combined, as well as Sagicor General Somerset in the Dominica Cricket Association's Intermediate League over the weekend. Defending champion Sagicor General Somerset had a convincing start to their campaign with a 7-wicket win against Marino Blasters on Sunday. The losing team took first knock and was bowled out for 95 runs in as little as 29 overs. H. St. Rose scored 18 and W. Challenger 12. Nicoy Barry bagged 3 wickets for 20, Jeremiah Joseph 3 for 21, and Bradley Byam 2 for 2. Set 96 to win, Somerset equaled the target with 16 overs still outstanding. Bruno added a well-deserved 30 to prop the score, with timely contributions of 28 from Charles Moses and Bradley Byam 15. B. Wilshire had some penetration with the ball, taking 2 for 20, and S. Laura 1 for 17. In the other match, the combined efforts of Tremors, PMCA, and Gallio seemed to have paid off with an 11-run win against Starlight Sports Club also on Sunday. The combined team won the toss and batted first to score 231 all-out in 39.1 overs. Kasim Peltier smashed an impressive 102, with Malachi Xavier supporting with 28 and Ishmael Lendor 23. Bowling for Starlights, we had Kerwin Bromant taking 3 wickets for 40 runs, while Richard Ansem took 2 for 33. Starlights in reply scored 220 all-out in 39.3 overs. Kerwin Bromant 42. Dorian Alphos 37 and 31 each from Darrell Lewis and Javid Seaman. Delbert Graham picked up 3 for 63 for Tremors, while Marshall Gregoire bagged 2 for 29 and Malachi Xavier 2 for 40. We continue on the road where a 15-year-old wins his 5th road race for the year. National cyclist Kohath Baron has won an impressive 5 out of 7 races this year and completed Sunday's event in a photo finish. Baron finished in 2 hours, 19 minutes and 48 seconds. Levi Baron closely followed in 2 hours, 19 minutes and 49 seconds. Then Chester Leighton, 2 hours, 19 minutes and 54 seconds. This is not the first time these riders have made podium finishes in this year's series of road races. There were 10 riders in Sunday's race.
At the beginning of the race, we all planned 1, 2, 3 for Street Falcons. And at the end of it, it turned out so. The race was a good race. It was a bit difficult on the second round. We started to cramp, but we were still able to manage the cramps and we pushed through it. A lot of people said they would like to see that happen, and today, from the time we arrived under the cliff, I saw that was going to happen today, and it was a good fight between he and I to the finish line. Well, we had a strategy, so if I went under the cliff, Daddy Chess would maybe go inside my hole, and then my father would take over Layo. So it was just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So every time people would see the same people at the front and checking, like the same people passing every time, but it's a strategy.
The youth cyclist is hoping to make a name for himself and the country at this year's OECS Cycling Championship and outlined some of his plans in pursuit of that feat. You guys are getting ready for the USA Cycling Championships this year. Something great for you. Of course, you're 15 years old and you're still making a name for Dominica right here on the local scene. What are your expectations, especially looking at how your body has been reacting for you throughout the training sessions?
Well, for the training sessions, I try to push hard and try to beat times that people at a higher level than me would do. So that would build my body to get accustomed to the pace maybe the winner of OECS would handle.
The next national race is carded for April 29 from Woodbridge Bay to Portsmouth. And action continued in the school's basketball championship, where Dominica State College finished 29 points ahead to defeat St. Mary's Academy on Monday. The scores were 68-39 in favor of DSC. Sylvanie netted 17 points and 12 rebounds for the winning team, with Richard Joseph adding 13 points, 5 rebounds. In a losing effort for SMA, Jonathan Henderson 15 points, 5 rebounds, and Kohath Baron 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 steals. The competition continues on Thursday with State College boys matched up against St. John's Academy at Lindo Park. That match begins at 3 p.m. That's all the sports for now. Join us next time. To end the news, the headlines again. The Bar Association demands action on concerns surrounding the safety of their work environment. Government to step up trade with Martinique and Guadeloupe, and Dominica among 5 countries to benefit from a Hurricane Relief T20 International in London. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Kenny Williams. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.